Hi everyone, for those of you who might not know me, I'm Rowan and I provide music production services as Devasound. And in this video, I'm going to be taking you into the mix of the Daddy's Issues single Copacetic. So I've known and worked with the Daddy's Issues guys for some time. Some of you might be familiar with the catalogue of THC Dreams music, which I also had a hand in producing. Daddy's Issues stuff has been really interesting to work on because of the whole lockdown. They've been busy plugging away, recording themselves at home. Once they have a track, they'd send it over to me and I'd polish it off, put a little shine on it, balance it out, send it back to them for release. And Copacetic happens to be one of those tracks. So let's get into it. Let's start with talking about drums. The drums are MIDI samples, Rona and Lockdown and all that. Funnily enough, it's actually the Logic standard kit. Sound pretty good. I like the cracky snare, the thuddy kick drum. At the time of mixing this, one of my favourite plugins, and probably still is one of my favourite plugins, is this V-Pre 73 from Black Rooster Audio, which is an emulation of a Neve preamp. It makes 90% of whatever you put through it just sound better. Just pretty much anything. I have all the main snare, kick and snare channels going through those cranked with a bit of EQ on the way in, just some bit of low, high, bit of cutting some muddiness on the out kick. Nice shaping of the top snare there. Pumping up the highs on the top snare will give you a bit more stick attack. I felt like that's what it needed, clearly. Not a lot on the snare bottom, just pretty much cutting out some muddy mid-range. Muddy mid-range! I like cutting muddy mid-range. I actually have a little bit of compression / transient designing, just adding a bit more stick attack, that stuff. And there's also instances of the Waves 1176 compressor, mainly for leveling out hits. Putting drums through this gives them a much tighter attack. So it kind of feels like also a bit of transient design to me. I don't do it very often, but I've also got a second channel for getting a bit more. It looks like a sort of reverb chain just for snare, primarily for snare, and it's called snare large. That would cut through on the full mix. Okay, so all that stuff is put into the drum burst. I like to do quite a bit of drum burst compression. Well, especially with a track like this where guitars are just blaring loud. So crushing them and compressing them is one way of bringing them back out. Next is Black Rooster Audio's Pultec style EQ. The low end on this EQ sounds really punchy, and I definitely felt like I wanted a bit of punch, and I wanted the kick to oof. Yeah. And right at the end, I like to do a little bit of crushing limiting, and this is my go-to for making juicy drums. Maximal 2 by Venomode.
Yeah.
Right, let's actually have a look at and see what I'm doing for the bass chain. Here we go, EQ move, cutting out muddy mid-range. Sub-low stuff. Pretty standard for me. This is a really cool compressor for bass. I like Pultec style EQ on bass. You see, boosting that low stuff and then getting that top end presence. That's how I'm also starting to suck that mid-range out. And then I just limit the hell out of it. That's where the major compression is happening. Just holding it in place. Keeping that low end just thick and consistent is key, and the L1 is the king. Just absolutely. Now we're getting onto guitars. This is the Chorus Fuzz Guitar channel. You know, like they recorded fuzz guitar, and they recorded a more sort of a cleaner, overdriven guitar. And together they complement each other well. The OD guitar is much more mid-rangey, pokey, and the fuzz guitar is a bit more broadband. It's got a lot more low and high stuff to work with. And together they mesh together nicely. Usually I'd have like a fuzz guitar on the left and an OD on the right. Breakdown guitars, oh yeah, we'll get onto that now. Let's have a listen to the breakdown bit. This is where like these chuggy guitars are introduced. Yeah, so yeah, I am cutting out a bit of low-end energy, but I'm compensating it for it with mid-range energy, which helps it cut through and finds its place within the rest of the arrangement. The fact is, the bass is providing plenty of low attack, and they work together quite nicely. Here, how I've got that tucked into its own specific mid-range area. This bridge guitar is really nice. Let's have a look at it. Now, I really wanted this to have its own space and be really ethereal, and that's done by Chromaverb. This is one of the only times I've really used Chromaverb. Just thought it has a lot of very weird and wacky and wonderful reverb types. So to me that sounds a little bit pokey, a little too pokey. I wanted it to... that's what I did. Straight off the bat, if I hear any problems, I jump to an EQ and I sort them out. I needed to get rid of top end harsh pokiness and provide it with a little bit of warmth. And oh look, V-Pre. Get it all colourful. You know, I told you, this is all over this track. Renaissance Axe compressor, which complements the sort of guitar style stuff pretty well. Compressor, a bit of H delay. See, just getting that wide ping pong delay. And it's just sort of its own thing, that sound. It's got its own reverb and delays, and it's very self-contained, and it just sort of comes out of nowhere to create this space in that build-up section towards the end and the breakdown thing. Despite these it's quite nice. It's I mean, there's a lot of processing going on here, but the summary of it is compression, saturation, absolutely crushing saturation actually with the Devil-Lock from Sound Toys. A little bit of doubler to give it a little bit of chorusing, width, and that's verging on abuse with an L1. Despite these awful sounds, I feel better now. There we go. Hope you enjoyed this long-winded, probably rambling video about me exploring the Copacetic mix for Daddy's issues. see you around. Hang on. I need to sneeze.